My dad had one rule. Every mistake cost you something you loved, and he decided the price. I learned this when I was 7 and spilled juice on his newspaper. He made me hand over my favorite stuffed rabbit, and I watched him throw it in the trash while I cried. Mom tried to stop him, but he said, he needs to learn actions have consequences. She looked at me with this helpless expression I'd never seen before, then walked away without another word. The system got worse as I got older. Failed a test, lost my PlayStation for 3 months, forgot to mow the lawn. My bike went to Goodwill that same day, came home 10 minutes late. He sold my guitar on Craigslist before I woke up the next morning. He'd show me the confirmation emails with the buyer's thank you messages, saying how much their kid would love my stuff. Mom would try to negotiate with him sometimes, offering to pay the price herself with her own things, but he'd always say, no, he made the choice. He pays the cost. I remember her crying in the kitchen once after he took my baseball card collection I'd spent 2 years building. She whispered to me that she was sorry, that she tried. When I was 14, my older brother Caleb left for college and never came back for holidays. Dad said it was because Caleb was ungrateful. I found out later Caleb had paid over $8,000 worth of possessions during high school. His gaming PC, his entire sneaker collection, his lacrosse equipment right before playoffs, even the car our grandpa left him in his will. Dad made him sign the title over his payment for getting a speeding ticket. Mom got diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer when I was 15. She started chemotherapy but had to stop after 3 rounds because insurance wouldn't cover the full treatment. Dad said we couldn't afford the out-of-pocket costs, that we needed to be smart with money. She tried alternative treatments and vitamins instead. I remember her getting weaker, sleeping more, but still trying to make my lunches and ask about my homework. She died 4 months after her diagnosis. The cancer had spread everywhere. At the funeral, she looked so small in that casket. Before they closed it, I took off the silver necklace she always wore, the one with the small sapphire her grandmother gave her. Dad didn't stop me. It was the only thing of hers I wanted. For a few months after she died, the payment system actually got worse. Dad said grief wasn't an excuse for mistakes. When I burned dinner because I was crying too hard to notice the smoke, he took my phone for 2 months. When I missed the bus because I'd spent the morning at Mom's grave, he made me give him my winter coat, and I walked to school freezing for 3 weeks until my aunt noticed and bought me a new one. When I was 16, I was helping him in the garage and accidentally knocked his vintage watch off the workbench. The crystal shattered across the concrete. He picked up the pieces slowly, examining each one, then looked at me with this cold expression. That silence was worse than yelling. The next morning, he told me the price. Mom's necklace. The only thing I had left from her. I said no. First time I'd ever refused to pay. His face went red. He said if I didn't hand it over by dinner, the price would double. I locked myself in my room and texted my aunt, Mom's sister, who I barely knew because Dad had kept her away for years. She showed up 2 hours later banging on the door, threatening to call the cops. Dad tried to block her, but she pushed past him and found me in my room, still holding the necklace. She took me to her house that night. For the first time in years, I slept without wondering what I'd lose next. 3 days later, my aunt sat me down with a folder full of documents she'd gotten from Mom's papers, bank statements, receipts, eBay seller history. Dad had sold everything he'd ever taken from me and Caleb, over $40,000 worth of our stuff in the past 8 years. But that wasn't the worst part. She showed me Mom's medical records that she'd requested from the hospital. Mom's insurance had actually approved the full cancer treatment. Every single round, Dad had lied. The hospital had sent 17 letters to our house confirming coverage. My aunt found those letters in Dad's desk drawer, unopened. Underneath them was a stack of credit card bills from every casino within 50 miles. He'd been gambling for years, spending thousands every month. He'd chosen poker machines over Mom's treatment. She could have survived. When my aunt showed the evidence to the police, they arrested him that same day. The judge gave him 6 years.